Hello there. Today I have a new Terrible Endings episode for you today. And what show do we have? Seinfeld, Season 9. I only even thought of this because Seinfeld's coming to town and I got tickets and I'm really excited to go see him. But it got me thinking about the ending to this show. First, let me talk about the ending if you haven't seen it. And then let me kind of talk about why I just think it was a terrible ending. So the ending is basically the beginning is NBC calls Jerry and they're like, we want to do Jerry, and so Jerry and George are gonna move out to California and they're gonna do the show Jerry. And as part of the deal, NBC says we'll give you a private jet to use and you can go anywhere you want. So they're kind of thinking where they're gonna go, and they all decide let's go to Paris. So on the way to Paris, the plane has a little bit of trouble. They gotta land in, is it Massachusetts? I think it was Massachusetts. I think it's Massachusetts. So they land there, and they go out to go get something to eat, or just while the plane's getting looked after. And basically they stumble upon a guy being robbed. And then they do nothing. They just stand there making fun of the guy. And they end up getting arrested under this Good Samaritan law, which I can kind of understand. I think I remember hearing that they had heard of a law like this, and that's kind of why they thought it was pretty funny. And I mean, it makes sense that they would say, yes, if someone's in trouble, you need to help them. But no one is going to expect you to stop a robber or a mugger or, put yourself in danger. So, I mean, that was a little ridiculous. So basically they get arrested, and then from this point on, it's pretty much a clip show, which very disappointing to be a clip show. But they bring in a ton of people. Not everybody, but I mean, they bring in a ton of people. The Soup Nazi, Babu, just a ton of people from the show. And some of them were even just like in one scene for like a second. You had Poppy just eating soup for a second, and then but a lot of them were brought in as witnesses. This is kind of another thing. They want to do like a character witness thing, and so they're bringing in a lot of people they wronged throughout the 9 seasons. And so they would just like call up like Mr. the Bookman guy, and he'd be like saying how Jerry wasn't even considered overdue. He's now a criminal because he never brought back his book. And they're just doing that for a while, and every time they do, they go back to a clip from the original episode. And then so then at the end they end up being found guilty, and they get sentenced to go to prison for a year. And it's like, isn't that a little extreme? 1 year? I mean, people do like terrible things and they get like what do you call it? Like I can't think of what it's called. Like where you have like supervised whatever. Whatever it is, you don't even go to jail, or this is ridiculous to think all 4 of them go to jail for a year for doing absolutely nothing. And so I think that was kind of a stupid way to go for that. And maybe they just didn't have an idea. I mean, Seinfeld started out really rough. It was really hard for them to build an audience. They had a lot of trouble getting the show off the ground. But then it became like this epic show, and everybody was watching it. And nobody wanted it to end. The only person that wanted it to end was Jerry Seinfeld. He was like, I'm done. I mean, they were making $1 million an episode. NBC wanted it to keep going. They probably would have paid him $1 billion an episode just to get him to keep making it. But he was done. Nobody else on the show wanted it to end. And he was just like, whatever, I want it to end. So I don't know where I was going with that. But it was just, maybe they didn't have an idea of how to end it really. And I think the episode itself wasn't that terrible exactly. But the thing is with this show is that the last episode built up so much hype. Everyone expected it to be like this just amazing episode that you just could not miss. I mean, I can't remember what station it was, but literally on their channel, if you turn to it during the finale of Seinfeld, it said Seinfeld's finale is on. They didn't even broadcast anything because they knew nobody was going to watch it. I don't know like if this is like the record for most watched show ever, but I know it was up there. Everybody was watching it. I watched it, and it was just such a letdown. And I think I think that hype is kind of what made it such a terrible episode. Is just that we expected something great, and I don't think anybody could have lived up to that expectation. I don't think anything they could have done could have lived up to that expectation. But I think what they did was way short of anything we could have expected. They did tie in a lot of jokes from throughout the series, and when the episode finally ends, it's like from the pilot they're talking about the button on his shirt, and George goes, "Haven't we had this conversation before?" And then it just ends, and you're like, it just makes you feeling so let down. And so, I think that makes the terrible ending to the show. I admit that 50% of that thought, feeling, and process in my mind is the fact that it was so hyped. But no matter how you look at it, it was just a bad way to end it. I mean, they owed so much more to the fans, and that's what I think. Let me know what you think. If you thought it was a good ending, let me know. If that was a terrible ending, let me know. If you have any other ideas for terrible endings, either to movies or TV shows, let me know. I'll think about it. I'd definitely like to hear what you think, and thanks for watching.